That's right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Gap here on the Jersey First TV network. As always, I'm AJ Malillo.
I'm Stephen Rambolo.
And unfortunately, you'll have to bear with me audio-wise today. I know it's not as pristine as usual, but it's one of those mornings and I completely forgot my microphone. So we're rolling with the AirPods today. But that's okay, because if you want to go back and you want to listen to some more crisp audio content, you could always subscribe at Jersey First TV. You can always check out some past episodes, future episodes. Also check out the Nader Narrative and Real Talk with Fernando over there. Get all of our notifications when we post by hitting that little bell there on Jersey First TV. And you can also go over to jerseyfirst.org and you can sign up for our newsletter, or you could sign up for our pledge, like just get the whole Jersey treatment. And that's what we do here on this show, right, Steve? We give people the Jersey treatment.
It's depending on who you ask, I guess. The Jersey treatment could be a lot of different things. If you catch me in traffic on a hot summer day, you're going to get a way different Jersey treatment.
No, that's fair.
But in essence, yeah, I mean, we're quite literally Jersey First. It's Jersey First, Jersey Foremost, Jersey all day, every day. That's what we do.
That's right.
I love it. AJ, I'll bounce it to you first. How you been? How's your week?
Good, man. It's crazy. I was thinking about a good analogy for this the other day, because finals are like around the corner at this point. I have 3 days left of class. So it's like today I have property, and then Monday I have contracts and property, and Tuesday I have property, and then I'm done. And then it's final season.
Wow.
Right? So it's like right around the corner. And I was like, you know what it feels like? It feels like you're driving down like the Parkway or the Turnpike and there's no traffic, like things are good. And then you get to the oranges and it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. There's traffic at the oranges,
always traffic.
The Parkway.
Always
so
traffic.
It's like you're cruising, you're going 80 left lane of the Parkway, and then you hit the oranges and you have to slam on your brakes. And that's what it feels like right now. I feel like I was cruising and then it's like, oh.
All of a sudden you're doing 12 miles an hour, jam-packed between two things with 100 things coming at you.
Right, and construction all around.
And
the mess.
There's got to be some kind of psychology behind it also. But whatever side of the Parkway you're on, northbound or southbound, the other side, when you're in traffic, breezing by.
Cruising. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you're kind of sitting here, you're like, exams, projects, whatever you got, and then you're looking across the way and you're like, oh, there's life.
Right. You're looking out the beautiful windows because, Villanova Law School, big on natural light. So I'm in the library looking out the windows and I'm like, oh yeah, like birds are chirping and it's the spring and it's beautiful out. But alas, here I am. And then I have to remember, Stephen, I did it to myself. I have no one to complain to.
Yep.
That's my new thing. It's like, how you doing? Oh, I can't complain. I did it to myself. Like, who am I going to complain to?
Yep. You know what my version of that is? Whenever I'm feeling stressed about these big decisions and the paperwork and the moving and grooving that comes along with this, I look at myself in the mirror and I go, you asked for this.
Right. Exactly.
I worked to be right here where I am right now, so no sense in complaining because it is quite literally what you asked for. So
exactly. But how are you? How was your week? How's work?
Still learning a lot this week. I got some time in the kitchen finally, which was really nice. I learned how to do chocolate caramels, which was super cool, very fun. Definitely can't make them at home, but still learning. Building a good staff, got a good crew, a lot of exciting things happening over there. So in that way, very well. Some progress on the front at Rutgers. I'm still on the wait list for Rutgers Law. So Rutgers, if you're listening, we're here, Jersey First.
And we know that you are.
Things. We know that you are. We know that you are. Just give me a call. You have my number. You have all the information I could possibly give you. So, but yeah, still making progress there and kind of in the very, very beginning stages of a little roommate hunt in case I end up having to shoot down south to Orlando. So all things are well. Anything that isn't work or law school related, I'm kind of like grasping onto, as much as I can, trying to collect little pieces. But that's it, man. That's all I do. I wake up and those are the two things on my mind. Those are two things I get going for. And
I understand.
That's all we do. So
I understand.
Until I have resolution on one front, That's what it's going to be. But managing the stress well, moving and grooving, hustling and bustling is what we do. I'm excited to be here. That's what
There
matters.
you go. There you go. And I think we got some fun stories for everybody today. And I think there's no better place to start than with the boss, you know?
Correct.
Stephen, I'm going to give you the honors of breaking down the beginning of this story.
This is amazing. So I was scrolling Instagram a few days ago, and I saw this delightful post from Governor Phil Murphy on his Instagram account. And if you don't mind, AJ, I'm going to read this proclamation that he had shared on his Instagram because, like you said, it is quite a monumental moment for me, and I'd imagine a lot of New Jerseyans. All right, here we go. It reads as follows. Whereas Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band remain one of the most iconic and influential bands throughout the state of New Jersey and around the globe. And whereas, beyond being an iconic singer, songwriter, and family man, the boss has acted on film, TV, and Broadway, recorded a podcast series with Barack Obama, written, starred in, and produced documentaries, and has helped countless charities in New Jersey and around the world. And whereas Bruce Springsteen will forever be remembered as the voice of the Garden State, signaling to the world that New Jerseyans were born to run. Now, therefore, I, Philip D. Murphy, Governor of the State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September 23rd as Bruce Springsteen Day for creating the soundtrack to our glory days. Signed, Phil Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. September 23rd is Bruce Springsteen Day in the great Garden State of New Jersey, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Look, I mean, yeah, Bruce is great and all, but the soundtrack in New Jersey, like, I'm sorry, you're just leaving out Whitney, you're leaving out Bon Jovi, you're leaving out Frank Sinatra. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, okay, Bruce is Bruce, and he's swell. He really is. Very, very good songwriter. One of the best ever. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. And a Jersey icon. But, I mean, where's John Bon Jovi Day? Where's Whitney Houston Day? Where's Frank Sinatra Day? That's what I'm saying. We got some Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
I'm just saying, we start the show with Born to Run, so I don't know.
Yeah, if you're listening on audio, I guess.
I don't know. You know? Listen, I think all those people, rightfully so, do deserve their own acclaim, and we've given rest stops, you know. Bruce Springsteen gets a whole day, Bon Jovi gets a rest stop. I'm okay with that.
You know, it's a pretty great rest stop. Like, let's be honest, that was formerly the Cheesequake rest stop, and it's the best one on the Parkway.
Yeah,
like, I don't think there's really an argument there.
Yeah. What's interesting about those that I really like? I've been to the Frank Sinatra one a few times. It's near AC, and outside it's always playing Frank Sinatra music. So I imagine I haven't been since it's been named Bon Jovi, but I imagine the Bon Jovi one outside always playing Bon Jovi tunes.
I haven't noticed, but now I'm going to have to like try and pick up on that.
Yeah, because it's and then when you go inside, they have like a little wall that's kind of like a mini museum about him. The Frank Sinatra one.
You know what? Actually, this is actually bringing me even more in line with no Bruce Springsteen Day, because Bruce Springsteen, for the Jersey icon that he is, refused a rest stop named after him. How New Jersey can you be if you said no to a rest stop?
Well, I mean,
that's about as Jersey as it gets. A Parkway rest stop? That's like Jersey. I don't know. Stopping at a Parkway rest stop is like equivalent to Jersey purgatory. You're
it
like
is,
in New
right?
Jersey, but like, are you? It might as well be I mean, it's not an embassy because it's in the state, but like, it might as well be like the embassy for New Jersey.
You could pick up a rest stop and put it somewhere else, and it's the perfect New Jersey embassy.
I feel like they should put DMVs with rest stops in the state of New Jersey.
Interesting.
So my overall point, though, how New Jersey can you be if you're going to deny? That's like saying that you prefer Quick Check over Wawa.
I understand.
Is that next?
I understand your point. I understand your point. I feel like maybe behind the scenes, Bruce could have been holding out because he knew, down the pipe there was going to be a Bruce Springsteen Day. And if it's me, I would rather have a whole day that persists like for all of time in the state of New Jersey as a Bruce Springsteen Day, as opposed to a rest stop, because it could be temporary. In 10 years, we could have somebody come in and they say, you know what, we're getting rid of the Cheesequake, the John Bon
Never gonna
Jovi
happen.
rest
Never gonna
stop, formerly
happen.
known as the Cheesecake Rest Stop. And then all of a sudden,
Never gonna happen.
your commitment, your monument in the state of Jersey that you've accepted is poof, Parkway dust.
Now, let me tell you something. This is actually quite a serious question. On September, was it September 23rd?
September 23rd.
Jersey radio stations, are they allowed to play anything that's not Bruce Springsteen music? Is that like if this is a holiday, we got to go full board.
I agree with you.
If there is any music played in the state of New Jersey that isn't Bruce Springsteen, you're done. FCC fines, it's over.
I agree with you. We should have little like Bruce Springsteen like auxiliary police officers making sure that people in their cars, if they're listening to streaming, they're only streaming Bruce Springsteen. I completely agree.
Really go full on totalitarian state just for Bruce Springsteen Day. We have little parades, the marching bands are playing Born to Run.
Yeah. Every bar you walk into has to be playing Glory Days. That's what it is. I don't make the rules.
As soon as the sun goes down, Dancing in the Dark is played.
Yep. I agree. All day, I'm going to walk around in a pair of blue jeans with the American flag hanging out. That's the outfit for Bruce Springsteen Day. Everybody has to wear it. I'm sorry.
Blue jeans, white t-shirt, American flag bandana hanging out the back.
You know what we need? It's got to be like, we need a pilgrimage. Like everybody has to, throughout the course of the year, at some point, make it to the Stone Pony, and that's the culmination is like, if you get to the pony on Bruce Springsteen Day, you're like, oh my God, sensory overload, Bruce all day.
September 23rd is Pilgrimage to Asbury Park.
Yes, aka Bruce Springsteen Day. So you know what, the boss, I love you here. We love you in Jersey, and like you said, we're born to run. So couldn't be any happier about this news.
Let's move on from one Jersey icon to. And I'll say an infamous New Jerseyan. I think that might be a fair way to say that.
That's a good way to put it.
This is a report from over at NJ.com, and that is a report about our Senator Robert Menendez and how his reelection campaign has spent tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees, and the senator will set up a legal defense fund as he reportedly faces yet another criminal investigation, according to campaign finance records and an advisor to the New Jersey Democrat. Menendez's campaign has paid $200,000 to two law firms and a document search company, the filing shows. This is Menendez's third investigation since taking office, I believe.
Yep.
And I don't know. You're talking about two previous corruption probes, and now this one that dropped quietly. So one of those corruption probes was dropped quietly, and the other one was dismissed after a high-profile criminal trial. And now you're talking about a third criminal defense trial. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent, and he's innocent until proven guilty. But all I'm saying is, when it comes to the court of public opinion, when a senator has been investigated, not once, not twice, but 3 times, some of those times by his own party, I think that tells you all you need to know about the senator and the person representing you. And as a New Jerseyan, I don't want the people that are representing me to be constantly under criminal investigation for doing something that's, or an ethics investigation at the very least, consistently. I feel like every year it's something new at this point.
Here's what gets me about this. The article continues to go on, right? And I agree with everything you've said, but when I was reading this is what I read, and I was like, they're really. So the gentleman, his name's Michael Solomon. He's a senior advisor to Menendez, and somebody asked him about this money, this $200,000 or so that's being paid to these law firms, and he said, quote, "These payments for legal representation are not only permissible, but a necessary part of the senator's ability to respond to requests for information." I'm sorry. I am sorry. So you are asking supporters, donors, to send you money, right? Obviously, you're fundraising. That's what you do. You spend 200,000 of that we know of right now for an investigation that we don't even have the full details of, a criminal investigation that we don't even have the full details of, in order to properly be able to respond to requests for information. What? So we're blowing six figures of your donors, donations on your third criminal investigation while you're in office. This is not a good look for Bob Menendez. Bob Menendez hasn't had a good look for the past, I don't know, dare I say 6 to 8 years. I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm not. I want to say that this should be like groundbreaking news, but I feel like after the second one, you're like, oh, he's doing that again. All right. And the biggest question I have, and my biggest gripe with all of this, is why do New Jerseyans continue to vote this man in? Why does Bob Menendez still get donors when he's taking that money to pay his fees for criminal investigations for corruption? That could not be any more completely backwards of a process. And I think moving forward, when he's up for re-election next year, if you vote for him, you're a fool. You know exactly what you're getting. You knew it after the first one. You knew it after the second one. And if those two weren't convincing enough, guess what? There's a third one coming down the pipe to seal the deal. This guy is a fraud. He is some kind of crony. He is dealing with corruption, and he is spending your money to save his own self. It's shameful that we just talked about a great representative of the state of New Jersey. Bruce Springsteen does a better job at representing the state of New Jersey than our own Senator Bob Menendez. Be better.
Yeah, no, I mean, Steve, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, I think it's just a larger issue than even Bob Menendez with our political system. It's like, at this point, we're going to talk a little bit about the 1950s in our next segment, right?
Yeah.
And at least in the 1950s, like, corruption was open. People kind of knew about it, but I still feel like the way that corruption worked in the 50s, you kind of felt like they were still looking out for you in a way, especially if you were like a union worker or something like that, because the corruption was to help unions,
Yes.
But now it's like just such a clear case that they're only in it for themselves. That's where the corruption is headed for. It's just like total selfishness, improvement, self-funding. And it gets to a point where it's like, look, we don't want this anymore. We want representatives that are actually good and for the people. And it's incumbent on us, the people voting, to like make that a reality. I don't know, maybe I'm a naive optimist, but if you don't want somebody in office anymore, you have to vote them out. And you have to vote them out in a primary or in a general election. So if you are a registered Democrat in the state of New Jersey and you don't like corruption, which I would imagine you don't vote for Bob Menendez in the Senate primary. And then guess what? It doesn't matter how much money he raises, because he'll lose, because he'll be voted out of office. And then he can't raise any money to be corrupt, because he'll run again and lose again. Just say you've had enough. And it bothers me in every single election. It's this idea of like, we always have to choose between the worst of two evils and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to. If we're all on the same page that we don't like either of these people, radical idea here, don't vote for him. Don't vote for him. And then guess what? You won't have to choose between them.
Oh my gosh, AJ, what you're saying is like, this is why we need civics in school, to understand the function of elections, primaries, and why all that works. And I'll take a brief aside here and I'll say I had a conversation yesterday, very interestingly, with a guy that I met at work. He was a professor from the University of London who teaches this, incredible sociology. We'll speak about it later at some point. But he was talking about politics with me, and he said, Americans are convinced that politics is binary. it's one or the other. I have to be this, and if I am not this, I am that. And he said, I don't really buy that. He said, no place in the world really buys that except here. And he's like, so I'm curious as to why you think Americans largely are the only population that is, kind of pigeonholed into being one or the other. And there's no fluidity, there's no middle ground, there's no gray areas. And it was a brilliant conversation, but exactly to your point, it it's not really the worst of two evils. It's vote for who you want, and if they're who you want, they probably shouldn't be evil. You know what I mean? We have the power. Our system functions to give us the power to put the people that we want, who we believe are going to best represent us in office. And I don't know about you, AJ, but the guy who's on his third federal criminal investigation for corruption, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of probably both, donor and taxpayer money because he's a senator, is not the guy that I want to represent me or the great state of New Jersey that I take a lot of pride in. So I agree. Maybe we should be a little more on top of that next year when elections roll around.
And I would agree too, and I would even be less likely to be so like wholeheartedly agreeing if Bob Menendez didn't face these charges from his own party. Like
Yeah,
if it was clearly like the Republicans have been like just going after Bob Menendez for whatever reason, it was very political. That's one thing, but it's not just Republicans going after him. So that tells me all I need to know, right? Like what
yeah.
Republicans and Democrats can't agree. Democrats can't agree on anything, but they can agree that something fishy's happening with Bob Menendez. So like, I don't understand.
Moral of the story here, it is, as citizens of the great state of New Jersey, what these people do is really important. How they spend their money, because their money is our money, is really important. And right now we have a guy who's been representing the great state of New Jersey for what, almost 15 years at this point, a little bit over that, and has these corruption charges thrown at him, and none of them are sticking. But like you said, three in a row, not only in a partisan, style investigation, but by his own party, is very telling.
Yeah, sometimes where there's smoke, there's no fire, but sometimes there's a fire, and this is
Yeah,
producing a lot of smoke.
a whole lot
Um,
of smoke.
so, so let's move on to our next story. We were talking about weeding out corruption, and it kind of goes into this. Recently, there was a unanimous Supreme Court decision between a case between the new state of New Jersey and the state of New York, and in a 9-page, very short, precise, straightforward opinion written by Justice Brett Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court found in favor of the state of New Jersey to withdraw from the Waterfront Commission's compact, which it had with the state of New York since 1953. So basically, the Waterfront Commission, signed in 1953, was both of the states coming together saying, look, we're going to work together to prevent corruption, and mostly like mob corruption with the union industry, with hiring, because they were in charge of hiring, and like all of the shipping that came into the New York port, which there's a New Jersey side and a New York side. So since the mob was like in charge of this area for a long time in the 50s, the two states came together, said we got to stop this, and they both governors would appoint a commissioner, one to represent New Jersey, the other to represent New York, and together they would police this area to weed out that corruption. So it's been going on for 70 years at this point, and in 2018, Governor Chris Christie was basically like, I don't think we really need this anymore. The mob's not in charge of it. And they felt like a lot of the shifting of where the entries of these cargo ships was coming in was more into New Jersey. And he was like, it doesn't really make sense to have this commission. Like, we can handle it ourselves. New York can handle their side themselves. We don't have the problem anymore. So they tried to pull out unilaterally. New York argued that they couldn't pull out of this unilaterally. Both sides had to agree, and New York wanted to keep the commission going. So with that, New Jersey's state legislature passed a bill withdrawing. Then that was signed in to law by the governor, And then New York sued. And they sued in district court, where the district court found in favor of New York. New Jersey appealed. And then in the circuit courts, that decision was reversed by the circuit courts. And then it made its way to the Supreme Court. So it was a really easy case for the Supreme Court to take. It like fell directly into what is known as the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, which if there's a state dispute, the Supreme Court handles it. It's like right there in the Constitution. It's not a question. This goes right to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court looked at the case, and it was fairly easy. It was a fairly easy contract case for them to decide. If the commission didn't address anything about ending of the contract, and because it was an indefinitely signed thing, that means that these were both like at will signers, and either one could pull out at any point. It's like Contract 101. Kavanaugh basically says that. And and so that's pretty much the whole case. And so now the people of New Jersey, Governor Murphy is very excited by this decision. And he said, that this was a win for the state of New Jersey and for the unions in the state of New Jersey, because it's going to help with hiring and make hiring a little easier. Meanwhile, over in New York, Governor Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James said in a joint statement that they are, quote, "We are disappointed by the Supreme Court's decision to allow New Jersey to unilaterally withdraw from the Waterfront Commission. For decades, the Waterfront Commission has been a vital law enforcement agency protecting essential industries at the port and cracking down on organized crime. We will continue to do everything in our power to combat the corruption and crime, protect the health of our economy, and ensure safety for New Yorkers." So it seems like New York's a little bit upset, but New Jersey feels like they got a big win here.
Well, I would say we definitely did, because it goes on to mention that basically all of the port activity happens in New Jersey now anyway. And what I thought was so interesting is this commission, which was basically one person from each state, had jurisdiction over, you ready for this, all the region's piers: Newark, Elizabeth, Bayonne, Staten Island, and Brooklyn. So just off principle, Jersey is in charge. Like 3 of those ports exist in Jersey's jurisdiction. So it's not like we came to the table with nothing. And what I thought was so interesting about the way New York was speaking about it, and Governor Hochul, is that it was like New York had all the power in this agreement. And listen, I'm all in on the Hudson Brotherhood. I think we got a good thing going on over here. But if there's one thing you're not going to do, is you're not going to belittle the great state of New Jersey. And you're not going to say in an agreement where, plain as day, we have a majority of the business, we have a majority of these merchants coming into our ports, that you guys get to call the shots for us. We deal with all the stuff. New York overregulated the crap out of their ports, and that's why people have sought to take these entry points through New Jersey. And this committee has, due to this overregulation, has been putting this undue economic stress on New Jersey. And we've been finagling around it, trying to make it more affordable, cheaper, safer, and better for products to get into these ports. And New York's kind of been stepping on our toes on that. And so we want to peace out. And thankfully, the Supreme Court gave us what I believe we are owed. Also interesting. Go for it.
No, I was going to say, I think that you're absolutely right. It was Chris Christie, when he first was like, we should pull out of this, was like, this is over-regulatory and it's really hurting the port entries. And also, it was a unanimous 9-0 decision. It was a pretty clear decision. Yep. And it's easy to read. Like anybody, you don't have to have any sort of a law background to understand it. It's basic, like at will contracts. Like you can pull out at any time. There was no end date, so there's no breach.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they called New York's argument unpersuasive also. But another statistic that I thought was just worth mentioning briefly was the former head of the commission had said that over the past 13 years, before it made its way to the Supreme Court, so the past 13 years right now, over 300 people associated with organized crime were removed or prevented from working on the waterfront, which was what this agreement was about. And to me, I don't know. I agree when New Jersey argues that it's sort of this vestige of the past. It's this thing that is just kind of we don't really need it for that reason anymore. And when I hear a number like 300 people over 13 years, that's not a mind-blowing statistic to me. I don't think that does anything in the way of supporting the existence of this commission any further, than what it should be. So
Yeah, I mean, I would say 70 years ago when it was signed, it was a different world and you needed it, but it's not where, New Jersey and New York, even though it's sort of joked around, like it's not mob run anymore like it
yeah,
used to be. So,
yeah,
but if you are interested in learning a little bit more about what it was like in the 50s over at the Waterfront Commission, there is an all-time American classic film on the waterfront where Marlon Brando's in it that kind of talks about the corruption and what was going on with these dock workers on in these ports of entry that led to the Waterfront Commission being signed to, and agreed upon to begin with. So if you're interested in a little bit of background in that way on the waterfront, Marlon Brando won multiple Academy Awards.
yeah. I say,
Look, I
all
think
in all, big win for Jersey.
I would completely agree. I would say a lot of wins for Jersey, and the next win is just getting Bob Menendez out of office. What do you say?
I'm in.
All right. So with that, that's going to be another episode of Bridging the Gap here on the Jersey First TV network. And I am AJ Malillo.
I'm Stephen Rambolo.
And we hope you have a wonderful week. We'll catch you next Saturday. And in the meantime, subscribe to Jersey First TV, hit that notification bell, get all of our content. Check out jerseyfirst.org and go sign up for our newsletter and our pledge. Have a good week, everybody.
See you.